What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
I am not okay with this show on Netflix, series, a TV series, show. What am I doing here? 7 episodes. You're following this character, teenage girl, in like a Midwest kind of suburbs, whatever. Kind of dealing with puberty, her sexuality, and also like crazy things start to happen. It's based on a comic book, but a fun show. I burned through the show twice now. Watched it once, and then the second time just kind of had it on in the background. Really fun show. I like all of these actors. It kind of like the aesthetic of it. It seems very familiar and very similar to a lot of other shows that are kind of on. Like just short hair, like her face, her look. I don't know if it's the same actress, but it seems like there's a lot of movies and or shows that kind of have that, tomboyish kind of look, short hair, kind of scrawny girl, but like, kind of fluid in her sexuality, not necessarily straight, not necessarily gay, but kind of trying to figure out who she is. But I really enjoyed this. All the characters I really enjoyed. The dude that plays, he's like the stoner, kind of awkward kid. I enjoy that one too. But it's about this girl. She just recently lost her dad, like I think like a year before the events of the show. And her dad, I don't think I guess he killed himself in the basement, I believe. He hung himself, maybe. And she starts having like these crazy things start happening where she thinks she can make people's nose bleed. She like has like these mind powers. And then through the series, she discovers that she actually does have these powers anytime she gets frustrated. Like she just knocks shit off. There's a scene where she's in the a convenience store and she's like trying to calm down, which like the emotions of that age, being 17 in high school, kind of, the hormones are going, but you're awkward and you don't have you don't know who you are as a person. So there's like all this rage and like just like all the emotions are real. Like all the kind of the reality, the emotional reality of this show is very relatable. It's also like uh for me, when I was that age, when I'm my age now, like I've always been attracted to kind of the tomboy girl, like a girl who may be lesbian, maybe bisexual, maybe, kind of there's that gray area of sexuality where for some reason I am attracted to it. I mean, I've gone out with women that have been on the other end of the spectrum where, wear a lot of makeup, kind of put a lot of effort and energy into how they look and how they portray themselves, and kind of like it's exhausting. It's exhausting. I am much more of the less is more kind of a guy. I prefer, so when I was this age, like I would have totally, like she would have been the girl that I would have like fell in love with, So it's like on that level, like it's fun to see a show where it's centered around a character like that, uh, in the weirdest of ways, I guess you could say. But so anytime, emotionally she gets like angry or scared, like crazy shit happens, and the end of the show, the last episode, it's only 7 episodes. They're like 30 minutes an episode, so super easy to burn through it. But where this series ends, the season ends, they're at prom, and her best friend, who, they both are recently had moved there. So they're both the new kids in the school and instantly became friends, even though her friend is kind of more of the popular, attractive girl that goes out with the star football player, jock guy. But you find out that the jock guy, of course, is an asshole. Is cheating on, she finds out he's cheating on her best friend. And the very end, he finds like this whole series, like it starts with her trying to deal with all these emotions with her dad dying and just kind of everything. And her counselor at school gives her a diary to write in, which is a common thing for like a therapeutic kind of tool to write in a diary. So a lot of this show is through the lens of her telling her diary, like, "Dear diary, this is what happened to me today." So she's while all of these, like, she's finding out she has superpowers, why she's finding out that she, might be into women but also into dudes, and she really likes this dude, but she has feelings for her best friend, and like there's all of these kind of crazy things going on in her life, and the it ends up disappearing one day. And in the last episode, you find out that the jock asshole boyfriend of her best friend is the one who stole it and read it. And at prom, he steals the microphone from the king and queen, the prom queen and king, and just starts to put her on blast, starting to say like, I forget how much detail he gives, but he's definitely uh starting to unleash her secrets. And with her powers, a lot of the times it's come from her like not wanting something to happen and like being backed into a corner in some ways. And this is the ultimate. And the way this ends is so amazing because one, it goes back to the imagery that you've seen throughout the series of her in a dress covered in blood, almost Carrie style, running away from somewhere. This puts into context that scene because let's just say things pop off at the prom, and that scene is of her leaving the prom and going to this place that is kind of come up earlier, kind of like this tree house kind of a deal. I forget what the actual structure is for, but she goes there and she meets a figure. And my thought is that for season 2, it's got to be a big actor, but for season 2, I think it's her dad. Like if I had to guess what's going on in season 2 of I Am Not Okay With This, is that it starts off with her. She knows her powers. She's kind of getting a grasp on it. They talked about it earlier with her stoner friend, where he's like going through comics, trying to figure out, kind of figuring out a way for her to learn how to harness her abilities. And he is taking on the kind of role as the teacher, even though he can't be a teacher because he's never experienced it. And at the end, she finds what I would imagine is going to be her teacher, the person that trains her how to use her powers. And I have a feeling it's her dad, and I have a feeling that it's a big actor. I don't know who it is. There was a voice. I'm sure if I looked on credits, it would say, the credit of the person's voice. Or it could be somebody else. But I would guess it would be her dad, because that would just add more to just the whole story of, because you never really see who her dad is. There's like in her memories, you see like, his hand gripping the steering wheel or, whatever. But you never actually see who her dad is. And I don't know. I really enjoyed this show, man. It's a fun binge, fast binge. I'm excited to see the season 2. It's based on a comic book, so I could spoil and go and read the comic book, but I'll definitely wait. And it's a fun, as far as when I was into comics for the brief moment in my life where I, in Denver, where we would talk about on the old podcast I did, Inspired Disorder podcast, my co-host and I, Keith, we would go and get comics and we would read them and we would review them. And this seemed like it would be probably in my wheelhouse. There was one, Paper Girls, I think, that I started to read, which deals a little bit more with interdimensional kind of stuff, which a lot of them do. But this one I think would have been a fun, like kind of the superpower puberty kind of story. But yeah, I really enjoy the show. So go check it out on Netflix. I Am Not Okay With This. Let me know what are your thoughts for what happens, and don't spoil if you already read the comic and know who her dad is. Then or if that's where season 2 goes. But yeah, check out the show. It's fun on Netflix. A lot of time everybody has on their hands. Make sure you wash those hands too. New episodes of the Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Go buy my artwork over at inspireddisorder.com and save 25% when you use coupon code RTS. Follow me on social media at Ray Taylor. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out.